Breathing in, I go back to the island within myself. There are beautiful trees within the island. There are blue skies and water. There are birds, sunshine and fresh air. Breathing out, I feel safe. I enjoy going back to my island. Seems like there's always something. Always something not ideal or something quite not right, not perfect. Seems that way, doesn't it? And life can really be pretty horrible. You know, I mean, Angelo DeLulu is saying there's nothing as enjoyable as this. I don't know where that kind of idea comes from, but you know, when I have a coffee in the morning, that's really enjoyable. But this isn't about any of that. You know, this is about a kind of access to insight and access to a kind of a freedom, a childish sense of freedom, a kind of essentialness of being free. And this is something that's just maturing in me because, you know, I'm not that old. So I'm either 31 or 32 years old. But this insight or this access to awareness, this access to the non-belief of I identity and I stories. You know, there's an I in stories. What is a story without an I? And there's a psychology, there's a subliminal, unconscious, subconscious programming in the mental frame, in the mental world. Thoughts and voices and whispers and talking to, you know, one of the convictions I used to have before I relieved myself of it, and this was really strong in me, I would imagine what people may ask me and then how I would respond to that. I'd imagine people asking me, you know, this certain kind of question, maybe my mother or... So this human psychology is very deep. You know what I mean? It's very deep. It's very unusual. And this unusualness that we have on the table here as our normal human experience, there's something very essential about that. There's something very real about that. So I try to invite and I try to invoke this sense of unusualness as an access point to the experiencing that's not thought-based. And I know that this isn't everybody's cup of tea, and I'll tell you what, we all have a lot of room to improve. I know that for sure. I know that I have a lot of room to improve. But are we ready to go into a meditation retreat? Are we ready to sit and cross our legs and face our trauma and our psychology of fear and anger and complex, non-practical thinking? The horror show that is yourself. Are you ready to face that? So we're going to have to take a different route, most of us. So this is a different route that's being brought onto the table. Someone spoke last night in the Discord call, which I don't want to get into about what happened last night, but about how, we should get into some real interpersonal relationships, create a real sangha, a real community. Interpersonal relationships are off limits here as it comes to the Dharma. The interpersonal relationships are the field of suffering that we have to make use of skillfully to bring an end to the notion of self. Some people say, well, Dr. Rob, you're a loser. And I would be very open to agreeing with them. But when it comes down to it, what does that even mean? To win what? And up and down, where is down? What does down mean? Does down mean under the eyes? Is that what down means? So down is, even something like down is nonsense. Are you hearing me? Are you hearing what I'm saying right now? What does down mean? Down means over that way? You fucking joking me? Down? Up and down? So up is above, or what is above, right? It's the simplex, the constructs. So up is not over here and down is not over there. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's up and down. Are you fucking kidding me? You think I'm supposed to buy that and supposed to believe that? This is hardcore shit. This is fucking skunk. And I worked hard to get myself here. I worked hard to be in this position. That's what we say, isn't it? In our bibliographies about our lives and sitting on the toilet in our own home. I deserve this. I earned this. Did you? Or has all this stuff just kind of been happening? I earned this bidet. I earned this toilet. Someone sent me, I woke up this morning, someone sent me $100. Someone sent me a crisp $100 bill. One of my students, one of my devotees, one of my sannyasins. I'm not your everyday average non-dualist, okay? When I have my coffee, I'm ready to teach. I'm ready to go live. I'm ready to do it raw. You ever heard of Bill O'Malley? He said, fuck it, we'll do it live. And that's what I say every goddamn motherfucking minute of my life. Fuck it, we will do it live. Open me up, doctor. Perform a triple bypass on me. Scrape my lungs. Transform me. Because live is all that we have, friends. It's all that we have. And do we really have this? What about this is possessed? What about this is owned? And look, if you want to sit there and just think about things, maybe you need to call a doctor. I'm not just going to sit here and think about things. Where am I leading you to? Shut the fuck up. There is a formula here. There is a transmigrational technology here. There is a science here that is unknown to the Western population. There are transmissions that are taking place right now. This is a hollow sphere. You exist in a hollow sphere. This is as much you as you are to me now. God, Jesus, the Buddha, Lucifer himself. I will torture Lucifer. I will torture the devil. I will do things to the devil that I can't speak about here. I'm willing to do things to the devil, to the Antichrist, that I will not speak about here. But in my dreams, in my nightmares, the fact of the matter is this is what you're owed. You get back what you give. You are getting back what you give now. Why are we in such a hurry? Why can't we respect God as He is in our lives now? Why are you in such a hurry? And where do you think it is that you're going? It says in the Bible, God created the heavens and the earth. Instantaneously? No. It took Him time. It took Him 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. So do not judge me on the value of my words, my actions, or my thoughts. Judge me according to my will and my wish. Give me control over your mind. Give me control over your body. Create an irrevocable trust in my name, in your country of origin. That's what someone who appears like me might say. But would I say that? No, I would never say that. Is there an I that can say anything? Is there? The coffee's wearing off. What is grace? Is grace the miscarriage of my grandmother? No. Grace is forgiveness. Forgiveness and absolution. The absolution of grace, the crucifixion of grace. I will crucify my students. This is a crucifixion process. I'm here to facilitate your crucifixion. God so loved the world that He sent His only Son to die for your sins, for your errors. Whatsoever ye do to others, ye have done to yourself. Thy hold sin, thy be crucified within oneself, unto the absolution of the others. God said in the Bible, create an irrevocable trust in my word, which is the only way unto the Father and through the Son, that the Holy Spirit may present itself unto you here and now. Very meditative, very contemplative, very rich. These words describe Dr. Rob and his work and his presence. I'm going through a transformational period of my life. I'm growing, I'm developing, I'm taking this seriously. I'm taking this path seriously. And if that's not what you want to do, then that's on you. But I take this seriously. I take this sincerely. Why in the fuck am I not allowed to establish a position based on my direct experiences? I was a Buddhist monk for 7 years. And who are you and what are you? Where are all the fucking spiritual practitioners out there in the world? Nobody wants to talk to Dr. Rob. Nobody wants to fucking talk about his experience as a monk. I've done nothing but give. That's what someone might say. But what if the person who said that did not know their own nature? What is your nature? What is your ground? What is your source? What is fundamental? Put W's in the chat. Leave a like if you haven't already. Okay? We've got enough poor people, okay? We need wealthy people who are ready to sell their homes. And take out loans and leave America with gold bullion. Now, what is this? Did anybody see this? What is that? All right, enough fucking around. Let's get real. Let's get non-dual. Let's get transformational. Let's have a transformational conversion, a transformational conversation. And I don't know if I'll ever have the chance to have an interview with Angelo DeLulu. But you know what? I tried. And I received him and he received me, even if in a small sense. I've got good ideas. No description has been added to this video. Do you understand that? Do you understand seeing without conceiving about things? Of course you don't. Of course you do not.
So what's coming to me to talk about is letting go, because it's such an intrinsic part of this whole process, this whole journey, this journeyless journey. And first, I just want to say that from the standpoint of the identified mind, the thought identified experience, which is an experience that humanity collectively shares. It's kind of hypnosis, stable dissociation of past, future problems and solutions and so forth from that world, that inner world. Letting go doesn't feel good, it doesn't sound good, it's a hard sell, yeah. But I want to point out why that is. And the why of it is so fascinating, because at some point in the process of realization, and I'll talk about this gets corrected. You see through it so clearly that it's not any kind of problem anymore. But to state it simply, the problem is that whole world of thought identification, of seeking, of past, future, moving through time, being someone separate, trying to protect the someone that's separate, trying to get more of what it needs, less of what it doesn't want. The whole thing is actually based on a sense of lack, a sense of not good enough. There's other words for that. Shame, not good enough, lack, something's just wrong with me, or something is just wrong. If you need evidence for that, I don't think anyone in here doesn't know that, probably. But if you need evidence for that, just watch what happens when people do shadow work, when they really get deep into their process, especially when it's somewhat new territory, the deep shadow, when it's kind of new territory to them. They have a lot of that. They often find a lot of doubt.
The fact of the matter is that he should be interviewing me, not the other way around. Angelo Delulu should be interested in me, should be interviewing me for the benefit of his audience. Should be asking me questions. Seems like cool guy. I hope I'll get to talk with him. Is it possible to get Adderall over the counter in Vietnam? Speak. sick of this dumb fucking sound healing shit. These people would be nothing without me. Okay, hey everybody, hope you're enjoying that sound healing. We're back, we're live. Please leave a like on the video. Please leave a like on the video if you haven't already. Everyone, please be quiet. Everyone, please be quiet. I'm going to figure out what to do next. Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Common people attach themselves to objects without, and within they fall into the wrong idea of vacuity. When they are able to free themselves from attachment to objects, when in contact with objects, and to free themselves from the fallacious view of annihilation on the doctrine of void, they will be free from delusions within and from illusions without. He who understands this, and whose mind is thus enlightened in an instant, is said to have opened his eyes for the sight of Buddha knowledge. She who understands this, and whose mind is thus enlightened in an instant, is said to have opened her eyes for the sight of Buddha knowledge. Common people attach themselves to objects without, and within they fall into the wrong idea of vacuity. So there's nothing there, there's nothing inside, right? You look inside, there's nothing there, so why would you be looking inside? There's nothing worthwhile there. There's no richness inside, it's just a vacuum, empty space, worthless. And outside, without, all these objects of sight and sound and smell and taste and touch to be involved with. So inside is worthless, and outside all these objects to be attached to, all these interesting objects to attach to. when they are able to free themselves from attachment to objects, while in contact with objects, and to free themselves from the fallacious view of annihilation on the doctrine of void, they will be free from delusions within and from illusions without. I don't like boring stuff, but can it be a means to go into meditation? Can it be a means to go into enlightenment? And now my viewers are leaving. I do not accept only having 11 people watching this live stream right now. I do not allow that. I do not give permission for that to be the case. The word Buddha is equivalent to enlightenment, which may be dealt with, as in the sutra, under 4 heads. To open the eyes for the sight of enlightenment knowledge. To show the sight of enlightenment knowledge. To awake to the sight of enlightenment knowledge. To be firmly established in the enlightenment knowledge. Should we be able, upon being taught, to grasp and understand thoroughly the teaching of enlightenment knowledge, then our inherent quality or true nature that is, the enlightenment knowledge, would have an opportunity to manifest itself. You should not misinterpret the text and come to the conclusion that Buddha knowledge is something special to Buddha and not common to us all, because you happen to find in the sutra this passage: to open the eyes for the sight of Buddha knowledge, to show the sight of Buddha knowledge, and so on. Such a misinterpretation would amount to slandering Buddha and blaspheming the sutra. Since she is a Buddha, she is already in possession of this enlightenment knowledge, and there is no occasion for herself to open her eyes for it. You should therefore accept the interpretation that Buddha knowledge is the Buddha knowledge of your own mind, and not that of any other Buddha. Being infatuated by sense objects, and thereby shutting themselves off from their own light, all sentient beings, tormented by outer circumstances and inner vexations, act voluntarily as slaves to their own desires. Seeing this, our Lord Buddha had to rise from his samadhi in order to exhort them with earnest preaching of various kinds to suppress their desires and to refrain from seeking happiness from outside, so that they might become the equals of Buddha. For this reason, the sutra says to open the eyes for the sight of Buddha knowledge, and so on. I advise people constantly to open their eyes for the Buddha knowledge within their mind, but in their perversity, they commit sins under delusion and ignorance. They are kind in words, but wicked in mind. They are greedy, malignant, jealous, crooked, flattering, egotistic, offensive to men, and destructive to inanimate objects. Thus, they open their eyes for the common people knowledge. Should they rectify their heart so that wisdom arises perpetually, the mind would be under introspection, and evil doing be replaced by the practice of good. Then they would initiate themselves into the Buddha knowledge. So this is a process of compulsive Buddha knowledge initiation. We make it compulsive. That is the value of our concern with, rather than particular contrived practices, which are also bring us a lot of benefit, immense benefit. And, please, I deserve a lot of shame and, hardship for my laziness, as it extends not just to myself but also for the people that are following me. So please find a better teacher and live a better way than I do. You should therefore, from moment to moment, open your eyes, not for common people knowledge, but for Buddha knowledge, which is supermundane, while the former is worldly. On the other hand, if you stick to the concept that mere recitation of the sutra as a daily exercise is good enough, then you are infatuated like the yak by its own tail. So what's being said here is that your meditation, all those fucking losers out there that are meditating every day, it's not going to amount to anything unless you can receive teachings like this, unless you can open your eyes to the Buddha knowledge, oh, I have such a anger in me and a frustration in me about the disgustingness of people and how vile they are, and just that thought of them as they do coming across this live stream and this teaching, and then thinking that I care at all that they tune out of that or turn off of that. You know, if you don't want to be here, just go. If you don't want to be here, just go. And I've been thinking about, us being together on the Zoom and that kind of thing, so we can bounce off each other, we can support each other, but there's no schedule here. So what am I going to be crawling on hands and knees to everybody at random times to come and join the Zoom meeting? And the spiritual potency is going to begin to go down because my homeless house guest just came in, and he's going through a lot of different things. So I can literally feel my potency being drained out of me by his voidness in his heart. He's sitting right over there. He just came in the room. You know what, we have the common saying, you got to spend money to make money, but you know what is a truer saying? You got to waste money to save money. You see what I'm saying? You have to waste money to save money. And he's making a mess on the floor. This is what you sacrifice when you try to help somebody else out. Everybody should listen to this song. This song is so fucking good.
just like the wind.
You should therefore, from moment to moment, open your eyes, not for common people knowledge, but for Buddha knowledge, which is supermundane, while the former is worldly. On the other hand, if you stick to the concept that mere recitation of the sutra, or kind of contrived regular practice, as a daily exercise is good enough, then you are infatuated like the yak by its own tail. Fata then said, if that is so, we have only to know the meaning of the sutra, and there would be no necessity for us to recite it. Is that right, sir? There is nothing wrong in the sutra, replied the patriarch. So that you should refrain from reciting it. Whether sutra reciting will enlighten you or not, or benefit you or not, all depends on yourself. She who recites the sutra with the tongue and puts its teaching into actual practice with her mind turns round the sutra. She who recites it without putting it into practice is turned round by the sutra. Listen to my stanza. When our mind is under delusion, the Saddharma Pundarika Sutra turns us around. With an enlightened mind, we turn round the sutra instead. To recite the sutra for a considerable time without knowing its principal object indicates that you are a stranger to its meaning. The correct way to recite the sutra is without holding any arbitrary belief. Otherwise, it is wrong. She who is above affirmative and negative rides permanently in the white bullock cart, the vehicle of Buddha. Having heard this stanza, Fata was enlightened and moved to tears. It is quite true, she explained, that heretofore I was unable to turn round the sutra. It was rather the sutra that turned me round. She then raised another point. The sutra says, from disciples up to great bodhisattvas, even if they were to speculate with combined efforts, they would be unable to comprehend the Buddha knowledge. But you, sir, give me to understand that if an ordinary woman realizes her own mind, she is said to have attained the Buddha knowledge. I am afraid, ma'am, that with the exception of those gifted with superior mental dispositions, others may doubt your remark. Furthermore, 3 kinds of carts are mentioned in the sutra, namely, carts yoked with goats, carts yoked with deers, and carts yoked with bullocks. How are these to be distinguished from the white bullock carts of the Buddha? The patriarch replied, the sutra is quite plain on this point. It is you who misunderstand it. The reason why disciples, silent Buddhas, and bodhisattvas cannot comprehend the Buddha knowledge is because they speculate on it. They may combine their efforts to speculate, but the more they speculate, the farther they are from the truth. It was to ordinary women, not to other Buddhas, that Gautama Buddha preached this sutra. As for those who cannot accept the doctrine she expounded, she let them leave the assembly. You do not seem to know that since we are already riding in the white bullock cart of the Buddha, there is no necessity for us to go out to look for the other three vehicles. Moreover, the sutra tells you plainly that there is only the Buddha vehicle, and that there are no other vehicles, such as the second or the third. It is for the sake of this sole vehicle that Buddha had to preach to us with innumerable skillful devices, using various reasons and arguments, parables and illustrations, and so on. Why can you not understand that the other three vehicles are makeshifts for the past only, while the sole vehicle, the Buddha vehicle, is the ultimate, meant for the present? The sutra teaches you to dispense with the makeshifts and to resort to the ultimate. Having resorted to the ultimate, you will find that even the name ultimate disappears. You should appreciate that you are the sole owner of these valuables and that they are entirely subject to your disposal. When you are free from the arbitrary conception that they are the mother's or the daughter's, or that they are at so-and-so's disposal, you may be said to have learned the right way to recite the sutra. In that case, from eon to eon, the sutra will be in your hand, and from morning to night you will be reciting the sutra all the time. Being thus awakened, Fata praised the matriarch in a transport of great joy with the following stanza. The delusion that I have attained great merits by reciting the sutra 3,000 times over is all dispelled by an utterance of the master of Shaoqi, the patriarch. She who has not understood the object of a Buddha's incarnation in this world is unable to suppress the wild passions accumulated in many lives. The three vehicles, yoked by goat, deer, and bullock, respectively, are makeshifts only, while the three stages, preliminary, intermediate, and final, in which the orthodox Dharma is expounded, are well set out indeed. How few appreciate that within the burning house itself, i.e., mundane existence, the king of Dharma is to be found. The patriarch then told him that henceforth he might call himself a sutra-reciting bhikshu. After that interview, Fata was able to grasp the profound meaning of Buddhism, yet he continued to recite the sutra as before. to realize that nothing can be seen, but to retain the concept of invisibility is like the surface of the sun obscured by passing clouds. To realize that nothing is knowable, but to retain the concept of unknowability may be likened to a clear sky disfigured by a lightning flash. To let these arbitrary concepts rise spontaneously in your mind indicates that you have misidentified the essence of mind, and that you have not yet found the skillful means to realize it. If you realize for one moment that these arbitrary concepts are wrong, your own spiritual light will shine forth permanently. Having heard this, Chi Chang at once felt that his mind was enlightened. Thereupon he submitted the following stanza to the patriarch. To allow the concepts of invisibility and unknowability to rise in the mind is to seek Bodhi without freeing oneself from the concepts of phenomena. He who is puffed up by the slightest impression, I am now enlightened, is no better than when he was under delusion. Had I not put myself at the feet of the patriarch, I should have been bewildered without knowing the right way to go. One day, Chi Chang asked the patriarch, Buddha preached the doctrine of three vehicles, and also that of a supreme vehicle. As I do not understand this, will you please explain? The patriarch replied, in trying to understand these, you should introspect your own mind and act independently of things and phenomena. So this is the proper way of meditation, to act independently of those things and phenomena, those appearances in the mind. The distinction of these four vehicles does not exist in the Dharma itself, but in the differentiation of people's minds. To see, to hear, and to recite the teachings is the small vehicle. To know the Dharma and to understand its meaning is the middle vehicle. To put the Dharma into actual practice is the great vehicle. To understand thoroughly all Dharmas, to have absorbed them completely, to be free from all attachments, to be above phenomena, and to be in possession of nothing is the supreme vehicle. Since the word yana, vehicle, implies motion, i.e., putting it into practice, argument on this point is quite unnecessary. All depends on self-practice, so you need not ask me any more. But I may remind you that at all times, the essence of mind is in a state of thusness. Chi Chang made obeisances and thanked the patriarch. Henceforth he acted as his attendant until the death of the master. So all of these forms, thought forms, you won't see anything about your mind if you don't practice meditation, if you don't introspect. It's like you won't know what you look like unless you look in a mirror. So meditation is the mind looking at the mind in a mirror. We get to see what's going on in there. The Dharma, the path, the way, is not to give into or depend upon differentiation, certainly in terms of mind work and then extending that into life as a whole. So in trying to understand these dharmic teachings, these deep tracks, very simply, you should introspect your own mind, the mind itself, and act independently of things and phenomena. Now, in a certain sense, we're putting the cart in front of the horse that way. That's how you ride on the horse, isn't it? With the cart behind. It's more practical to say that we have a willingness to introspect our own mind at any moment that does not depend on things and phenomena, so that the direct relationship that you have with your mind is not based on external things and situations. This way, getting into a kind of constant introspection and independence and freedom in the face of all things and phenomena. Because all things, any things, all phenomena, any phenomena are in line with reminding you of this teaching, to be independent and to introspect upon your own mind directly. So the direct experience of your mind. And this is embarrassing for a lot of people. This kind of puts you into a new field of study and a new field of research that many people are totally unequipped to be involved with and to participate in. So it's kind of becoming a beginner again. And in the same way, it's a very new way of looking at your responsibility with yourself and with the environment that is based on independence, irregardless of the specifics of those phenomena or those things, thereby creating a system of irrelevance to the storytelling of you, which is very problematic for a lot of people, as it would be. So we are in the midst of being an ordinary person, but we are blessed because we concern ourselves with the higher view, the higher understanding. We concern ourselves with the irrelevance of the worldly view, even being in the world and of the world. That is your most realistic practice path. Most practical practice path. And if you cannot be ashamed of your current skill and capacity, then what's the point of even playing on the court? What's the point of being involved at all? Just leave your life up to a 50-50 chance, hoping that you get on the positive side of the coin flip. For some of us, that's not enough. We need to weigh the odds. And that is exactly what this way of practice is about, weighing the odds. Bhikshu Chi Tao, a native of Nanhai of Guangdong, came to the patriarch for instruction, saying, "Since I joined the order, I have read the Mahaparinirvana Sutra for more than 10 years, but I have not yet grasped its main idea." Just a human construct, like statistics. It's real until the meteor hits. So it's both real and unreal, and neither real nor unreal. So give irrelevance is your best chance. Came to the patriarch for instruction, saying, "Since I joined the order, I have read the Mahaparinirvana Sutra for more than 10 years, but I have not yet grasped its main idea. Will you please teach me?" This is also a principle of curiosity. This is the Mahaparinirvana Sutra of Monk Life Meditation live stream. People are dumb, dull. They're not curious about anything. They're shallow. They're conniving. "Which part of it do you not understand?" asked the patriarch. "It is about this part, sir, that I am doubtful. All things are impermanent, and so they belong to the Dharma of becoming and cessation. When both becoming and cessation cease to operate, the bliss of perfect rest and cessation of changes, i.e. nirvana, arises." "What makes you doubt?" asked the patriarch. "All beings have two bodies, the physical body and the Dharmakaya, replied Chi-Tao. The former is impermanent. It exists and dies. The latter is permanent. It knows not and feels not. Now the sutra says, when both becoming and cessation cease to operate, the bliss of perfect rest and cessation of changes arises. I do not know which body ceases to exist, and which body enjoys the bliss. It cannot be the physical body that enjoys, because when it dies, the four material elements of earth, water, and fire, and air will disintegrate. And disintegration is pure suffering, the very opposite of bliss. If it is the Dharmakaya that ceases to exist, it would be in the same state as inanimate objects, such as grass, trees, stones, and so on. Who then will be the enjoyer? So who is it that will enjoy Nibbana? Who is it that will enjoy freedom from suffering? Moreover, Dharma nature is the quintessence of becoming in cessation, which manifests as the five skandhas. That is to say, with one quintessence there are five functions. The process of becoming and cessation is everlasting. When function or operation arises from the quintessence, it becomes. When the operation or function is absorbed back into the quintessence, it ceases to exist. If reincarnation is admitted, there would be no cessation of changes, as in the case of sentient beings. If reincarnation is out of the question, then things will remain forever in a state of lifeless quintessence, like inanimate objects. If this is so, then under the limitations and restrictions of nirvana, even existence will be impossible to all beings. What enjoyment could there be? Commentary. You're dumber than a box of rocks on a Tuesday afternoon. And Bhikshu Ching Chong is dumber than a box of McDonald's fries that have gone halfway to irrelevance and dryness. You are a son of Buddha, a bhikshu, said the patriarch. So why do you adopt the fallacious views of eternalism and annihilationism held by the heretics and criticize the teaching of the Supreme Vehicle? Your argument implies that apart from the physical body, there is a law body, the Dharmakaya, and that perfect rest and cessation of changes may be sought apart from becoming in cessation. Further, from the statement, nirvana is everlasting joy, you infer that there must be somebody to play the part of the enjoyer. So this is, of course, the personalist view. Now, it is exactly these fallacious views that make people crave for sensate existence and indulge in worldly pleasure. It is for these people, the victims of ignorance, who identify the union of the five skandhas as the self, and regard all other things as not self, literally outer sense objects, who crave for individual existence and have an aversion to death, who drift about in the whirlpool of life and death without realizing the hollowness of mundane existence, which is only a dream or an illusion, who commit themselves to unnecessary suffering by binding themselves to the wheel of rebirth, who mistake the state of everlasting joy of nirvana for a mode of suffering, and who are always after sensual pleasure. It is for these people that the compassionate Buddha preached the real bliss of nirvana. At any one moment, nirvana has neither the phenomena of becoming nor that of cessation, nor even the ceasing of an operation of becoming and cessation. It is the manifestation of perfect rest and cessation of changes. But at the time of manifestation, there is not even a concept of manifestation. So it is called the everlasting joy, which has neither enjoyer nor non-enjoyer. There is no such thing as one quintessence and 5 functions as you allege, and you are slandering Buddha and blaspheming the law when you state that under such limitation and restriction of nirvana, existence is impossible to all beings. Listen to my stanza. The supreme Mahaparinirvana is perfect, permanent, calm, and illuminating. Ignorant people miscall it death, while heretics hold that it is annihilation. Those who belong to the Shravaka vehicle or the Pratyeka Buddha vehicle regard it as non-action. All these are mere intellectual speculations and form the basis of the 62 fallacious views. Since they are mere fictitious names invented for the occasion, they have nothing to do with the absolute truth. Only those of supereminent mind can understand thoroughly what nirvana is, and take up the attitude of neither attachment nor indifference toward it. They know that the 5 skandhas and the so-called ego arising from the union of these 5 skandhas, together with all external objects and forms, and the various phenomena of sound and voice, are equally unreal, like a dream or an illusion. They make no discrimination between a sage and an ordinary man, let alone, nor do they have any arbitrary concept of nirvana. They are above affirmation and negation, and they break the barrier of the past, the present, and the future. They use their sense organs when occasion requires, but the concept of using does not arise. They may particularize on all sorts of things, but the concept of particularization does not arise. Even during the cataclysmic fire at the end of a kalpa, when ocean beds are burned dry, or during the blowing of the catastrophic wind, when one mountain topples on another, the real and everlasting bliss of perfect rest and cessation of changes, of nirvana, remains in the same state and changes not. Here I am trying to describe to you something that is ineffable, so that you may get rid of your fallacious views. But if you do not interpret my words literally, you may perhaps learn a wee bit of the meaning of nirvana. Having heard this stanza, Chi Tao was highly enlightened. In a rapturous mood, he made obeisances and departed. The head of my penis scrapes against the couch. say we get kitted out and go for some adventuring, Shiva?
Okay, what kind of adventure?
Go and do the vlog and do the visit the different places.
Yeah, why not?
And we'll just give a few moments for the audience. If you'd like to ask a question or share anything, you're welcome to do so. Have you worked on editing your first day in Vietnam vlog?
Not yet, I'll do it today.
Maybe you should include a part about the Adi saga. Like, that's a good clickbait. Is Adi leaves Shiva and nowhere in Vietnam, and then maybe you just put something at the, or you could take clips from the live stream as well. When we found out that I don't know how fully you are in the editing, but
So, yeah, I think I'll wait until he makes his video. And
Ye-
depending on how much heat he throws, he's live right now.
really? All right, everybody. I want my warriors, my spiritual warriors, to go over to the Adi Asaya channel and tell him Dr. Rob is not this. Not, Dr. Rob is not Shiva, and Dr. Rob still wants to work with you while you're here in Vietnam. Okay. Go over to the Adi Asaya channel. Fasting and New Vietnam apartment. Look how quickly, man, he just moves on. That's amazing. Here's the link, everybody. Go over to Adi Asaya and ask him, are you still cool with Dr. Rob? Dr. Rob says he's not involved with Shiva like that.
And understanding these things, comes by experience. This is wisdom. Real wisdom comes from experience, from understanding, not from the bookish knowledge or not from dead knowledge information, which comes alive when we imbibe it and embody it. But yeah, so absolutely understand, but understand through not only
Okay.
what we have read or whatever, but also through what we've experienced. Okay, I'm uploading this video. Love you, Michael Tuttle. Yes. Please subscribe. Even donate if you're feeling crazy, but you don't have to do that. Yes, I have a very good video coming out soon in a park. I'm about to upload it. You'll probably see it in 10 minutes at the latest, about nature. Is nature good or is nature bad? And in my understanding, I think nature is good. I think the essence of nature is good. I think we need to return to nature. I think we've become so separated from nature. Like, I'm at the park and, in this day and age, the population is much more densely packed. So many people in such a small area, but there's this massive park and almost no one is at it in the middle of the day. And that saddens me. It's like nothing is happening. Shiva, I thought you were making a video about me. No, not about you, but I will make a video that you can watch tomorrow night. I did mention you a little bit in my vlog today, which I will post tonight. The video about you will be posted tomorrow. You have $1 million father. Why do you need donations, sir? Yeah, that was kind of a passing comment. I don't really need them, but it is nice. Can you shout out my leopard gecko? His name is J. Gerald Lake. It's pronounced Gerald like an old man. Sure, shout out J. Gerald Lake. He is a part of nature. That means that he is, in his essence, perhaps not every aspect of him, but that he is very intelligent and that he is simple. He is innocent. He's an innocent little leopard gecko. Cute, innocent little leopard gecko and he is just a part of this, of nature, which is God, which is everything. I am not with Shiva, bro. I do not support him. Are we still cool? That's funny. That's funny. Yes, we're still cool, monk dude.
Okay. Me and
I'm still
Adi are
cool with
cool,
Shiva,
just so you
but
know,
I
Shiva.
just need
So,
some time for myself.
all right, everybody. Well, that's the end of our live stream. I hope you're doing well. I don't know if anybody watched this and if this was a spiritual thing for anybody or if I'm just some joke to you, to everyone. But I wish you well in your life, and may you be well, may you be happy, may you be peaceful, may you be successful, and may your afflictions come to an end. May you realize perfect nibbana, whatever that is. Okay, goodbye, everybody.